Welcome to another edition of the Burrow Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mark Rayner. Mark, I believe you're starting a new venture coming next month with becoming a personal trainer.
Yeah, mate. So for all the dads in the Penrith area, if you want to level up your fitness and get in shape, not only for the summertime but for the years moving forward, I'm going to be available to get in contact with via our Instagram page, which Josh, you display at the start of every one of the podcasts. So basically, it'll incorporate personal training, one-on-one personal training, and also a strength and conditioning component for rugby league teams, mate. So yeah, very, very excited about that and can't wait.
Mate, we look forward to, I hope it really goes well for you. But we are here for South Sydney right now, and again, another loss on last Friday night to the Panthers. We went down 30-10. I don't think too many people were surprised. We can't really be disappointed with the efforts there of the boys, could we?
No, mate. I thought they had a really good dig, mate. Massively down on troops, backs against the wall, and I can't fault the effort of the boys out there. It was really just a couple of missed moments in that game that sort of let the score get away from us a little bit. But overall, mate, I thought they had a dig, and that's all we can ask for them, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love the fight back in the second half. I think we left it in attack, especially. We had a couple of opportunities. We took a few of the wrong options, especially with Jack White. And I remember, still getting over this cold, but I remember it was in the first half. He did well to create the overlap, and he was double pumping, kept dummying and whatever, and he finally created the overlap, and we had a huge overlap there, and he dummied and stepped back in, and when himself got tackled, and they're the sort of wrong options, and I suppose that comes down to confidence as well, because in the second half, you seen when he was throwing the ball, he was throwing it out the back, out over the sideline, and we couldn't create those sort of opportunities, say if we had over Latrell Mitchell or Cody Walker.
Yeah, definitely, mate. There was painfully obvious that there was a couple of wrong options taken in that game. But mate, as a whole, I thought Jackie Boy did okay. But you're right, mate. He doesn't have the I don't know what you'd call it, but I think maybe we'll run with confidence, mate, to sort of test his arm. But yeah, there was definitely a couple of opportunities there, mate, where AJ was open or Ty was open a little bit, and if some of those passes had gone out to them, who knows? But mate, that's footy. We go again.
Yeah, I liken Jack White to the style of halfback, say that John Sutton was, except John Sutton probably would have been a smarter player than Jack White, and possibly see that there's a time that we move him to the back row just like we did John Sutton.
Quite possibly, mate. Quite possibly, mate. He's big enough to take on that role. And to be that sort of ball playing back rower, like Sutto was at the back end of his career. Yeah, definitely, mate. I'm with you. I can certainly see that in his future.
Well, it was back to the wall for us from the get go. Losing Latrell Mitchell the day before the game, news filtered through that Latrell did an injury in the captain's run. I mean, it's just the luck of our season. Then all of a sudden we had to move AJ here. We had to move Ewan Aiken to the centres, and we were just all over the place there. And it just really was disruptive to the side, as if we didn't have enough problems already.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And like even though the Panthers rested some of their guns, Cleary, Yo, and like Martin, mate, they're still 4-time defending premiers, mate, and to go against that caliber of opposition when we're so depleted, mate, I thought the boys showed some real character out there, and yeah, I'm proud of their efforts, mate. To be honest.
Yeah, like we said that before, the efforts were certainly there, and they never gave up. It was 18-0 at half time, and we fought our way to get it to 18-6, and we started to dominate the game a bit there with possession, field position, and we were starting to make progress. We just couldn't we couldn't polish off the set moves and things like that. It'd go out the back. We thought Tyrone Munro looked like he was going to score at one stage, got held up over the line, and that's Penrith for you in a nutshell. Very, very hard team to break open, even without the stars they had out with Cleary missing, Isaiah Yeo. They certainly still had a lot of good players there, and Dylan Edwards, he was a difference in the side, wasn't he? In the two sides.
Mate, he's a freak, mate. He's a absolute freak. He was everywhere. I think, mate. I'm pretty sure he had just under or just over 300 running meters, mate. He was a try, two try assists, something like that, mate. He's just such a dangerous footballer, mate, and hence why he's the New South Wales and Australian fullback, mate.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at some players, and some players defensively, we just it was luck that things happened or whatever. There was poor defence, one-on-one tackles. There was one Tyrone Munro on their winger for their second try. He just got shoved off. Whereas prior to that, he did a brilliant try saver where he got over and knocked the ball free before the ball was put down. So it was a bit of a mixed bag there defensively for Tyrone. We've seen where Keon, the effort was there to do that great charge down, and it was just the bounce of the ball. It just didn't go our way. Those little things aren't going our way at the moment, and it happens when we've now got a 7 game losing streak now, and you just need some of those little things to go your way. We've seen it against the Storm a few weeks ago. Missed goals, the field goal attempt from 50 metres out just goes to the right. Those little things. That little thing is the difference there that could see a win and can see a loss. But Keon did well to get the charge down, and the ball not only just went behind him, but bounced perfectly for the Penrith player, and they end up scoring off the back of that. And all of a sudden, instead of having the ball and being in good field position at 18-6, we were down 24-6, and that was game over.
Yep, that's exactly right, mate. And when you are, when you are in the position that we are, 100%, you just do not get those 50-50 calls. Just don't go your way, mate. Yeah, I mean, it's the rugby league gods have forsaken us this year. Hey, I'm sure the boys will do their best for the remainder of the year for us.
Look, we said that in the podcast last week. We spoke about it, and we said all we want to see is the effort. We know the finals football's out of the question. I pretty much was resigned to the fact after we lost to the Dolphins that game. It was touch and go then, and we needed to win that and lost that. And I know some people still held on to a bit of hope, but the injuries that we've got it's just too hard to overcome for any team. Not just us, for any team. And we lost 2 more players. We lost Keon, who's now, we learned, has gone for the season, and Pete Mamazelos, who we lost during the game to concussion. So even then, and Pete, when he came on, I thought he was great for us. He really got us going forward. We looked different in attack, and it's something that we've missed from our dummy half for a while now. Well, what do you think of Pete's game?
Yeah, mate, I was very impressed with him. I thought his passes were nice and crisp. He started to shuffle out of dummy half a little bit more, trying to create some time and space for the boys. And mate, I thought he did quite well when he came on.
Yeah, like I love his creativity out of dummy half on the line, because he's got a few try assists from the crash balls and that. And we've seen Damien Cook last couple of years with those crash balls. Very hit and miss with him. he got it wrong more than he got it right, and we always see the guys knocking on. But his pass selection's been very good. We've seen it. I remember against the Dragons, he was able to get beautiful pass to Sean Kepi to get us back into the game there. That was the one that made it even, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jamie Humphries kicked the field goal. But at least with him, it's only a week through concussion protocols. But Keon's going to be a massive loss, and it just shows we keep getting the big name players missing for long periods of time again.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, mate. But it's it's unfortunate. I don't know what we did to to deserve what we've got this year. But in saying that, they just have to have that next man up mentality, mate. And as long as the blokes that come in and to fill those positions, do the best of their ability, not the best of somebody else's ability, but the best of their own ability, mate, then I'll walk away from those games happy. And it's going to be a learning curve for a lot of those blokes that are coming in this season, that's for sure. And look, mate, I can only see, once we get to the end of the season and into pre-season, I can see this season being a real driver for us in pre-season and moving forward into 2026, mate.
Yeah, well, one area I think we really need to be better at is contesting the kicks, and you've seen the difference. The Panthers were contesting kicks and they were getting results from it, whereas we were holding back. And I think even when we contested one of the kicks, and they made a break off the back of it because instead of only having one person going up for it, we had all three guys going up for it. And when it went the Panthers' way, there was no one there to defend them. So it's something we really do need to practice and get that right. But I just find you're putting a bomb up there. I mean, I know sometimes you need field position, you need to be smart about it. But especially when you're chasing points, you need to start challenging for those kicks, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Being pretty established first grade footballers, mate, and a lot of those guys have played enough games now, and throughout their junior careers, it's basic stuff, simple stuff, 1% stuff, and we're just not icing those at the moment, mate. And that's the results are exactly what they are off the back of that, and the injuries that we've caught.
Yeah, well, there's a guy that you've bagged relentlessly of late. I call him your favourite player, but what did you make of Sean Kepi's game?
Big SK, mate. He had a pretty good game, mate, to be honest with you. I couldn't fault him. He started to, he was rumbling up the middle, mate. He was, his post-contact meters were pretty good. He was dragging defenders in on him. Mate, honestly, he did what he should be doing week in and week out. Consistency is key for Sean. He's big enough. He's scary enough. His ability is there for all to see, mate. He's just got to have belief in himself, and be consistent with his game, and he'll do a job for us week in and week out.
Yeah. Well, I remember you had the final say last week, and you had some words of wisdom to say to him, and I think he was listening, and he took that as motivation. So keep that up, Sean. It was the type of game that we expect from you, and now with Keon, we're going to need a leader. With you and Junior, we're going to need you guys to really step up and take a lot of that workload that the Keon would do. All you forwards are going to have to do that. And speaking of another forward, at the end of the game, there were scenes of Jai Arrow. He just broke down. It's really hurting him. This season's really hurting him. We've seen him come off against this Storm. He was pissed off and angry. He just went off the field, didn't shake anyone's hand. This time he broke down, and Latrell Mitchell was consoling him. And we see how much it is hurting these guys.
Yeah, mate. And look, that I suppose that just shows the passion and the love for the club that Jai has. It's a frustrating year for everybody, mate. Players, administrators, members, fans. It's been a dog shit season, mate. But I think if I had anything to say to Jai is that you know, tough times don't last, mate. Tough people do, and you guys as players in the club will the only way is up, boys. So just hold your heads high, and whatever happens between now and the end of the year, we're behind yous anyway, and then just go and have a nice break and get ready for another Wayne Bennett off season.
Yeah, that's true. One of the shining lights of this season, and hopefully it does happen. We keep following it with great interest, because I think this is the thing that can save the season from hell is AJ breaking that record. He's now got 6 to go, and he scored it. It took something like about, I don't know. It took something like 78 and a half minutes for him to get there, but we finally got an AJ try.
Yes, and from fullback too. That made me so happy.
Well, it's a rare.
It was great vision, mate. It was great vision, and obviously, you got was it Jackie that put that
Jack
kick
White,
in?
yes, it was.
So obviously AJ's tipped him up that there's a little bit of space out the back, and thankfully it paid off. Another half a second, mate, and she would have rolled dead, I reckon. But AJ was on the money and got it down, so that was fantastic.
Yeah, well, but like usual, AJ just knows the exact spot where to be and do that. I thought AJ was our best at fullback, and it was a rare game where you look and say, well, he wouldn't have scored. This game is a game where he wouldn't have scored if he was on the left wing, but playing fullback, he actually scored. So that's a very rare thing. Whereas many of games that you've seen where he's played fullback, you thought, well, he would have scored a couple there on the wing, so which has taken away from his tally. But it is good to see him cross for a rare fullback try. He certainly doesn't have. I think it's 24th try at fullback now. I could be wrong. I know Darren Finlay will be out there commenting, telling me exactly what it is. So shout out to you, Daz.
Big Dazza.
But yeah, for me, I said it felt like that saved the game for me, like the disappointment of the game. I think that really lifted my mood because it is the one thing that we're all holding on to see. And of course, today it was announced that AJ's re-signed for a further 2 years. It's great to see that he's going to be here. It confirms that he will be breaking the record in our colours, which is good. And who knows how far he can go.
Yeah, that's right, mate. That's the thing. He's got 6 tries to go, and then another 2 seasons in our colours to potentially score another 30. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Sorry, we've just lost Mark there.
Ringing me, mate. So I do apologise. No, I just had some clown ringing me, mate. So I just pissed them off. Did you catch any of what I said?
We caught just the start of it, but yeah, you're talking about AJ getting an extra 30 tries, and we lost the rest after that. So
yeah, so another 30 tries in our colours, mate, and obviously extending that record out way further. So I dare say it'll be a fair one. Yeah, some dickhead keeps ringing me. I don't know who it is, mate.
Maybe it's Sean Kepi. Yeah, well, I think you look at the players playing now. I think the only one there would be possibly I don't know. It'd possibly be the Gold Coast winger, Khan Pereira. He's got a very good strike rate, but they're not even playing him at the moment, and it's hard because you've got to do it consistently for so long. And AJ's record on the wing is more than a try a game. So those sort of things over a long period of time are harder to do. And the next closest to him current players is Daniel Tupou, and he'll be retiring before AJ. So he may move into third of all time by the time he retires. I think he's going to play for another season. I can't see him playing much longer than that. But he's crept up as well, hasn't he, Daniel Tupu?
Mate, very, very good winger for a long time for the Chooks, mate. Probably one of the best aerial games that I've seen from a winger in a long time. I don't call him the giraffe for nothing, mate. He's been a great servant to the Chooks, and will deserve the top three position, mate. No dramas at all.
Yeah, well, we do have another game this week. We'll move on from the Panthers game. We'll move on to this week's game against the Sharks here up at Gosford. The team was dropped today, and the teams the following is we've got a few players out, and we also lost another one at training yesterday to concussion. And that's Jamie Humphries. So we do see a debutant making way. So the fullback, we welcome back Jai Gray. Alex Johnston and Tyrone Munro are the wingers. Isaiah Tass, Tallis Duncan in the centres. Jack Whiten is 5'8" and captain. Lewis Dodd finally gets his chance as a starting half again since the last time he was against Newcastle at Magic Round. Junior Totola and Sean Kepi are the starting props. Saliva Havili is the starting hooker. Ewan Aiken, Jai Arrow are our edges. Lachlan Hubner is back at lock. Liam LeBlanc, Jacob Host, Ryan Gray, and a debutant, Ashton Ward, are our bench with Thomas Fletcher, 18th man, Shaq Mitchell, Celestia Tata, Bailey Bentley Harpy, and Amaron Gudgeon make up the rest of the bench with our coach, Wayne Bennett.
How good was Percy LeBlanc's try last week too, mate? Eh?
Liam, yeah, it's got his first one.
The mad Frenchman got one.
Yes. Wasn't he hitting hard last week as well? He does. He cuts them down. So
he's an old school footballer, mate. In a new age, in a new era, mate. He reminds me of blokes like Michael Andrews and them from back in the day, mate. He just self-preservation is not high on his agenda, mate. So he's a good lad, mate. But yeah, you know what? I think that team, Kempy, is probably the best that we can possibly put out at the moment, mate. So see how they go, eh?
Well, interesting to see Ashton Ward named, and he's been playing a fair bit of New South Wales Cup, and he's had a bit of a combination going with Lewis Dodd in New South Wales Cup. He's dropped down a couple of times to play Jersey Flegg, but more often than not, he's in the New South Wales Cup side. He's been impressive since he's played, and you could probably remember him playing in the trial game earlier in the season up in Gosford, and he impressed people there as well. So it's good to see him get a chance, and I don't know. I think we may see him start and possibly move Jack Whiten to play in the centres. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we see.
I'd love to see it personally, mate. I think at this time of the year, why the hell not give young blokes like him a crack, give him some experience in the top grade, let him see what the speed of the NRL's like, mate, and mate, if he does get a start, I wish him all the best. He's a good kid. He's got a good footy head on his shoulders, and he'll love it out there, mate.
Yeah, well, just seeing the bench. Sorry, I'm still getting over this cold, but sorry. Out of the game on Friday night, it was quite cold and just made me a little bit worse. But I'm getting over it anyway. But I don't know. I look at someone like Thomas Fletcher. This is a guy that I'd give a chance, and I know we haven't re-signed him or whatever. And I've alluded to last week that the club's not going to re-sign him. I just want to reiterate on that. That's just me kind of trying to put two and two together and seeing how they haven't played him, and it's coming this late. But what I'd love to see, give him a chance. Let's see what he's got. If he's got something, then we can re-sign him. But I know his dad Nick's out there listening. He watches every week, so shout out to you, Nick. Thanks for watching, mate. And I hope your son does get given a shot, because he's certainly impressing of late in New South Wales Cup.
Is that the young man that had the horrendous injury, mate, a little while ago? Or
no.
what's
no,
his
you're
name?
thinking of Ben Lovett, and
Ben Lovett,
I believe
yeah, right.
It hasn't been official, but I believe he's medically retired. That was in the New South
Gotcha.
Wales Cup Grand Final, and that was just a horrendous injury.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
he's still around the club now. The club are looking after him there,
That's
and
fit.
he's I think he's training one of the. I'm not sure if it's the flag side, but he's out there as one of the trainers involved in that. So that's really good to see.
Yeah, that is good to see, mate. That's what the club's about, isn't it? But yeah, mate. Was it young Fletcher
Yeah,
you were
Thomas
talking about?
Fletcher. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
yep, mate. Why not? Give him a crack. I to it's he's played first grade before, hasn't he? He had a
No, he
couple of
hasn't.
games. Oh, he
No,
hasn't.
he hasn't. Hasn't. He's played a couple of the trials. He played in a couple
Oh,
of the
that might have been
trials.
where I seen him, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, mate. Why not? Give him a crack. Absolutely, absolutely.
Defensively, he's very good. It was his attack that was probably a little bit off, but he scored a couple of tries in the New South Wales Cup, and I just like to see these guys given a bit of a shot, and let's see what he's got. Let's see. I mean, the club may have other ideas. Um, Injuries to Max McCarthy hasn't helped this year, and we've still got him to come back, where he did his ACL in that trial game earlier this year, and he didn't last
Not
long, but
every not every back row, mate, has to be a genius with the ball. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just need a back row that's going to get in there, mate, make those real tough carries and hit like a brick wall. And mate, that young man fits the bill. So I'd give him a start at some point in the season, mate. And you know what? If he impresses, and let's keep him.
yeah, well, we've got a few things. We got Ryan Gray again on the bench, which I get because Pete Mamazellus is out. Because we don't have an 80-minute hooker without Pete playing. Also lost Cheese as well. So with Havili starting, we need someone to come on and fill that role. And didn't help that Humphreys is now out with concussion. But with Humphreys out, it finally gives Lewis Dodd that chance to own this side.
Yeah, well, um, let's see if the little Pommy can steer us around the park. There's probably no tougher assignment, mate, than than the Sharks at the moment. They've been playing some pretty good football. Um, yeah, let's just see. I don't have any massively high expectations on Dotty. Especially with the current situation at the club in terms of our injuries and so on. But yeah, let's see how he goes, mate. I'll be very happy if he can just simply steer us around the park. Create some space, have a good kicking game, and just do the little things right, mate. Just the little things right.
Well, look, the main thing, and it's what Wayne said in the last week's press conference before the game, was put your body on the line. And that was damning. That was damning for him to say that, and it probably explains the reason why he hasn't been selected. He ran the ball twice last week for 12 metres, and we need to see more of that, running the ball a bit, running deep to the line. That's the one thing that he needs to start doing, digging into the line, which is something we haven't seen him do. We've seen young guys playing like Ashton Ward playing New South Wales Cup and be the dominant player over Lewis Dodd. Lewis Dodd's got a very good kicking game, especially his short kicking game, and that's something we will benefit from. But he needs to start getting his hands on the ball, demanding the ball and getting involved, digging into the line, creating the room for his outside man. That's what we want to see, and if he can start doing that, who knows?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Look, I was quite to be honest, when they signed him, I was sort of quite excited because I thought, oh, you beauty, we've signed Penrith's daddy, but he sort of hasn't he sort of hasn't really been given, you know, I suppose that much time in first grade due to the lapses that he's been showing in New South Wales Cup and some of those things that have kept him out of the side for pretty much the entire year. But mate, the time's right, the opportunity's there, so it's up to Lewis if he wants to grab it with two hands now.
Well, I didn't know too much about him in England. The only thing I really knew about him was he kicked that winning field goal against Penrith. I guess that's where a lot of people have rested their hat and thought, oh well, he's done that, so he must be good. But I know since then he had a serious leg injury, and he didn't come back quite the same. there's a lot of people over there that were questioning why we signed him. So never know, but hopefully what the club has seen, we'll start to see now, and we can see some improvement, and it may only be for a week. With Jamie Humphries, he'll only be out for a week with the concussion protocols, just like Pete Mamazelis. So um, for that game against the Broncos the following week, but if he shows something, and and you also got to think, if the club is trying to get rid of him, put him there on the display, and if he starts playing well, that'll only help for the club to be able to move him on as well.
Yep, 100%, mate. Put him in the window if we're not going to retain him, and let him just do his thing. And I could probably see Dotty going back to England, mate. If I'm being honest, there's definitely some clubs over there that could use his services 100%. So I mean, yep, put him in the window, let him do his thing, and mate, if he is good enough, and we think that he's good enough, then keep him around.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, I looked stupid a couple of weeks ago. I asked, when can you see our next win? And at the time, the Sharks they were terrible. They weren't doing anything much, and they were struggling. And I think I given the lift that they needed, but I predicted that the Sharks would be our next win. And since then, we've lost Cody for a period. We've lost Latrell. We've lost Keon. Lost Campbell Graham. And so it's a much different side that I was expecting that was going to take place against the Sharks. But as I also said, every time we get excited about someone coming back, we lose more, or the person we get excited about coming back gets re-injured. So we also lost the Cheese as well. Sorry, Brandon Smith as well. Like, he came back for a game, and he lasted most of the game, and right at the back end we seen that tackle. So, but the last couple of weeks, Cronulla have really started turning it on. They dominated the Roosters. Who was it the week before they
Yeah, they put the
smashed?
cleaners through someone, maybe I can't recall off
Oh
the top.
no, they didn't. They beat the Dolphins, but the Dolphins
Oh
have
yes,
been
that's right. It
very,
was the
very,
Dolphins, mate. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. The Dolphins have been very depleted. So even that wasn't, but it got their confidence back. Winning that game got their confidence back, and we spoke about confidence in the game and how we're lacking it at the moment. And just one win may have been a bit different. Had we beaten the Storm that game, that the confidence would have risen, but it's not to be. This is not our season. But the Sharks they're forward pack, and yeah, up against ours, I don't see much happening for in our favour.
They got the biggest arsehole fans in the competition, mate. So it's going to piss me off. But anyway, that's footy. I think like we said before, mate. The boys go out there, just have a dig for each other, and do the best of their ability. And if they can keep the score nice and respectable this week, mate, I think that will be that'll be a result.
Yeah, but thing that worries me is you got Ronaldo and Mulatalo on the wing, and he always carves us up. They put the high kick, and we got no answer for that, especially with our backs. I mean, trying to limit their field position is going to be tough enough with the forwards. I can see where they just run through our middles, and added for Noah Blake. I mean, South Junior, how good would have he been in our pack right now? Um, and then on the bench, you got guys like Toby Rudolph, Braden Hamueli. They've also got Daniel Atkinson on the bench to come on as well, just to rub salt in the wounds. Cam McInnes, he's gone another level since he's gone to the Sharks, hasn't he?
He certainly has, mate. The lead character of the Goonies is playing some really really good football, mate. So he's a war horse, mate. And when you talk about when you talk about blokes who just where self preservation comes second. If you look that up in the in the phrase book, mate, there'd be a picture of Cam McInnes's head there, mate. So he's a warrior, man, and yeah, I would love to have him back at South Sydney, mate, because a bloke of that caliber who just tackles everything, mate, and does all the 1% stuff that you expect out of a footballer. He does all of it. So
yeah.
he's
And,
class, mate.
well, we haven't touched on their halves, their spine as well. Blake Brayley's just in rare form right now. Very, very good hooker, and we've got to be on our toes for him because he'll just carve up from dummy half and get out there. And we haven't been great at marker over and up the middle of late ourselves, but I thought we were a little bit better against the Panthers. But again, I don't think the Panthers forward pack was anywhere near what the Sharks forward pack's going to be.
Certainly not going to be a big test for the lads or up at Gosford, mate. So but hey, let's just we'll wait and see what transpires on the night. We'll probably have to hope that Cronulla have a shit themselves massively, mate, to get sort of a result out of the game. But hey, stranger things have happened in rugby league, mate.
True. Look. Cronulla have been hot and cold all season. They've had good runs, and then they've just gone and had poor runs as well. So you never know. And if they decide to have a game of the dropsy, like last week, our completion rate was 92%. That's insane. But the scoreline, you look at the scoreline, and if you looked at the stats, you wouldn't think that would be the scoreline. You'd think that we'd go very close to winning. It's just that our creativity couldn't create the points that we needed, and that's been our biggest problem. And again, where do our points come from? Playing Jai at fullback, having Jai back at fullback will help. It was good to see him running around. Having Alex back on the wing, he knows where to position himself. So, but it's about getting the ball to him. Who's the person that's going to get to the ball to him? Who's the person that's going to get the ball to Jai Gray in a bit of space? But then Jai Gray's got to learn how to know when to pass and when to run. Too often I've been critical of him running too often rather than passing, and you see it with Latrell, and that's the difference. There's plenty of difference between him and Latrell because the opposition fear Latrell when he has the ball because he's got threat both ways. Like his passing game is second to none from fullback there. Best ball playing fullback in the game.
Not to mention about 5 foot, mate. So there's a fair distance, mate. And Latrell's Latrell, man. But Jai just needs to be Jai. And from the start of the season, what we saw from him, mate, he's a classy little bloke, mate. And again, puts his body on the line as well for such a small bloke, mate. In stature, he's massive on ticker. If we had 17 Jai Grays, mate, I think we'd be we'd be in a good spot.
Well, yeah, he's an all-effort player, and so we will see him. There's no one that makes more half breaks than he does. But I just love to see him convert some of those half breaks into breaks. Maybe even having someone trailing him, looking for an offload as he does get through, going to the ground, things like that, because we do need to chance our hand. There's no point holding onto the ball and coming up empty with points because we're not going to defend, say, we're not going to defend if we get 2 tries. We're no longer that team that can defend that sort of keep teams to just 2 tries or less. We need to score points.
Yeah, just throw caution to the wind, mate. There's no use playing conservative football when you're sitting third last, mate. You know what I mean? It's done. So let's just throw caution to the wind. If I was Wayne, mate, I'd be telling the boys just go out there, play eyes up, free flowing footy, make your tackles, just have fun. Have fun out there, lads. Just go out there and throw the ball. Pretend you're back in high school, mate, playing on the oval with your mates. You know what I mean? Just have a crack.
Well, we've got our weekly segment, Cody's weekly stats, and hit it, Cody.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cody's weekly stats. This week in round 21, we are taking on the Cronulla Sharks at Polytech Stadium, known as Central Coast Stadium. Saturday 7:35 kickoff. Our head-to-head against the Sharks, we have played 97 games against each other. There have been 51 wins to the Sharks, 43 to the Rabbitohs, and there's 3 draws thrown in there as well. So on the Central Coast Stadium, we have won 3 of our last 4 games up there on the Central Coast. The Sharks have won their last 4 games against us. Alex Johnson has scored 4 tries in his last 3 games at Polytech Stadium. Now, a really unique stadium. Now, should Wade Bennett or should we lose this week? We currently have lost 7 in a row because of to the Panthers. If we lose this week, Wade Bennett will be tied equal for the amount of losses consecutively in a row, which is currently 8 at the moment. Our highest crowd against the Sharks was 39,733 in the 2022 semi-finals, where we won 38-12. Our highest attendance at Polytech Stadium was 20,060. That was against Manly in 2013. Our last 3 wins our last 3 wins at Polytech Stadium, we have scored 40 points or 42 points. Our biggest loss against the Sharks was 42-0 in 1994, and our biggest win against the Sharks was 43 points to 4 all the way back in 1969. Talk about a long time. Anyways, go to Rabbitohs.
Thank you, Cody. Well, we've spoken about the injuries and how bad it is. You just look at some of the names we've got. We've spoken Latrell, Cody, Brandon Smith, Campbell Graham. I mean, we do get Jai back, Keon now, Jamie Humphries. You look at the amount of games a lot of our star players have played this year, and you can see why we're in the position we're in. And I said to someone earlier today, I said, injuries are the reason why we're coming last, but they're not the reason why we're not pushing for a premiership. And that's the thing a lot of people need to understand. Had people saying the other week and arguing saying that, no, it's only because of injuries, we would have been a very top-sided. And I get it. You put Cam Murray in the side, it makes a huge difference. You have guys like Latrell for the majority of the year, Campbell Graham, a fit Campbell Graham, Cody Walker, all those guys. We're looking at a different season. And I believe if we had the majority of our players for the majority of the year, we're making the finals this year. But I don't think we're pushing for a top 4. I don't think we're competing with those sides. And I think there's still a big gap between us and them. And it's something we need to get right. We spoke about it in depth about the recruitment and retention, but the injuries are really hurting us.
Yeah, mate. Look, 100%, mate. I believe that South Sydney at full strength is definitely a top 8 side. I do agree with you, mate, that we're not we're not a premiership contender by any means, but we're a solid top 8 football team. We're still missing, maybe 1 or 2 sort of pieces of the puzzle that could take us to that next level. But, mate, the roster is what it is. Hopefully, we've made a couple of signings for next season and some re-signings and the like. So let's just, I don't know, mate, let's just focus on getting this season done and dusted. And then, the boys can move into pre-season and we can just work with what we've got, mate.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think that, we look at a lot of people complaining about saying this is the problem. It can't be just bad luck, but some of it's true. Like some of it you can look at and you break down each individual injury and you see things and what is bad luck, what is bad management. I look at Cody Walker and I suggest that's bad management. Whether it's on the player, whether it's on the staff, or whether we're rushing players back, I don't know the answer. We don't know what's going on there. We don't know the ins and outs, but it's not good. But then you look at the Keon's injury the other day. That's happened during a game.
Yeah, happened during the game, mate. Yeah, exactly.
Brandon Smith. It was a poor tackle during the game, although a lot of people suggest that we may have rushed him back and shouldn't have. Hindsight's a wonderful thing there because he was looking good at that point, but then you get a tackle like that that's going to injure most players out there. You look at the broken bones. You had Tyrone Munro early in the season, broken collarbone. And you had Jai Gray just coming back from a broken thumb. And he played on with that broken thumb. I think that was a game against Canterbury. So he's been out for a bit of a stretch. They're the bad luck ones you just can't help. That's contact sport for us, and we lead. We're on top of that list of by some margin. When you look at the injured players, I think we're pretty much double the second team. It just shows how horrific it has been for us.
Yeah, mate. And you're right. Jesus, it's a contact sport, so injuries are going to happen. Obviously, would have liked to have had a hell of a lot less. Cam Murray's Achilles at the start of the season probably set the tone for what was coming. To be honest, mate, I sort of lost a bit of faith in our strength and conditioning team at the start of last season, mate, with the poor way they managed Campbell Graham. But I mean, that's my own personal take on it. And it sort of didn't really improve either last year. We had quite a lot of pieces, sort of coming in and out of that side last year as well, and couldn't really get settled. But you're right, mate. A lot of the injuries that we've had have been game-related injuries this year. I don't know the Cody Walker situation, mate. I've been quite vocal in what I think should happen to with Cody Walker in recent podcasts that we've done together. But again, in saying that, if it's just his body getting older, getting on, whatever, do we know that we're only going to get 15 games out of him a year, mate, you know what I mean, for the next season or whatever, and when we keep him on to sort of mentor those lads like Ashton Ward and them coming through, or do we say, all right, Cody, listen, mate, this is enough of your playing career now. Give him the tap on the shoulder and then give him a job as halves coach or something like that next season. So I don't know. Like you said, mate, is it poor management on the player? Is it poor management by our staff? Is it age? I honestly think it's probably a combination of all three, brother.
Well, the thing is, I believe it's too late to do the tap on the shoulder. I think that he's already extended for another year. I believe the club haven't announced it yet and probably holding off now. Hopefully he does come back and can lead us to avoid the wooden spoon. That's what I'd like to see. Finish the season strongly to give us the guys a bit of confidence heading into the off season and into the pre-season. We spoke last week. We really did kind of give it to the club last week about their communication, and I always say if you're gonna bag them for things, you got to praise them for things too. And I noticed the next day they put out an injury report. They got the one about Latrell Mitchell out pretty quickly, although it did leak in the media, and they were very quick to react with Keon and Pete Mamazelis, and that's something that we've been very critical of, the communication. But I want to praise the club for being proactive there and listening to what the fans do want, the communication, open up the communication. So I do want to praise you guys for that.
100%. Yeah, credit where it's due. And that's all we ask for. That's all we ask for. Just transparency, honesty, and yeah, it's appreciated.
So we're up to Gosford.
No, mate, no, too much going on, mate. I've got the games on and that this weekend for over here in Penrith, mate. So I'll be staying in the west.
Yeah, well, I'll be picking Patricia up she finishes work at 1:00, and we're going to head out there, and I'll be picking Daniel Atchison up, and another loyal listener there. Shout out to you, Daniel.
Yeah, legend.
And driving up for the game, and then heading back. Hopefully we're not too disappointed. As I said, we talk about the efforts. That's what we really do want to see. We spoke about it last week. We can't complain last week about the efforts. I mean, you can talk about individuals and their games or whatever and be a letdown, but the effort's certainly there. But I want to go. We look at this season, last season. I want to get a bit of a comparison from you from this season, last season. I know we're identical with our wins and losses at the same point last year. we didn't win another game for the remainder of the season last year. We're on a 7-game losing streak now. It's very hard. We do have the Gold Coast matter and also the Dragons in our run home, which 3 winnable games, although the Dragons have been very impressive. They've got Mitch Moses coming back, I believe, this week. So that's going to make it harder for us, and they're a much better side with Mitch playing. But I just want to get a comparison to you from this season and last season.
As dire as each other. I think, yeah.
Can you see improvements in this season?
Mate, to be honest, I think there was a patch at the start of the year where we went on a little bit of a run. I can't remember exactly what rounds they were, but I think we might have run 4 or 5 on the trot or something like that, mate. Was that?
Yeah,
we
won 4 of our first 5 games.
4, yeah. So in terms of the start of the year, I thought, yeah, definitely. And then, the wheels eventually started to sort of fall off in terms of the injuries and things like that. So, yeah, for me, mate, I think both seasons get a D for me. Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption, way to see it, I think.
I'm going to disagree with you there because one thing I love about this season is the efforts and the injuries that we've copped this season are much worse than last season. And last season, you've got to remember, we still had Cam Murray and we still had Cody Walker. I didn't believe that the efforts were anywhere near what they needed to be last season. I thought we started the season, we looked very, very unfit, whereas this year I feel we're very fit. Unfortunately, the injuries that we've had have forced guys like Lockie Hubner to be playing much more footy than we expected. Isaiah Tass, we didn't expect him to play so much football. I know we had our injury problems last year, but I just feel there's more effort this year. They look fitter. And I feel like we're pushing ourselves in games. You look at the Melbourne Storm game, that run where we played the top 4 sides, we were in all those games. I know Canberra ended up being a bit of a blowout, but we were all in all those games. Canterbury, we kind of started slow. Melbourne, we started slow, but we came back into those games. We kept fighting. Even against Penrith the other day, we kept fighting. And that's the thing that I've seen, that we're in there fighting. And that's the difference that I love. The results aren't coming. The confidence may be down, but that's the difference that I see between this season and last season.
Well, then you have a look at games like against Newcastle. Then you have a look at games against the Dolphins a couple of weeks ago when we were pretty much at as full a strength as what we can get, and still got our asses handed to us. I get where you're coming from, mate, in terms of the efforts and things like that, but efforts don't count for much, mate, unless the results come the way and in a parallel universe, mate, where we're joint losers, you know what I mean, compared to last year.
Yeah.
So.
Look, I understand that, but I what I'm trying to say is that I do see improvements on last season, and yeah, they're not getting the results. But that Newcastle game, we how many players did we had out? We had something like about 10 players missing, maybe 12 players missing for that game. So we'll severely depleted from that, and you get half decent side, we possibly win that game. The Dolphins game, I know we had the strongest backline we had, but it was our middles that cost us that game. I thought we still scored 5 tries that game, and this year we've scored 5 tries, I believe, 4 times. We've scored 5 tries. I know we did against the who was it? It was against the we did against Storm. We did it against the Dolphins, we did it against the Warriors, and we did it against the Panthers earlier in the season. We've only won one of those games and lost 3. And it shows, it shows that they're our defenceless now, whereas early in the season our defence was winning us games because we weren't scoring points, and we just can't seem to get it right there. But it's as dire as this season and as much as it's hurting, they're the difference that I see when I compare the 2 seasons. And you raise a very good point about that we're not getting the wins. And And that's what we need to get, because it's a results-driven business, and that's what makes people turn up. You look at the Bulldogs. Just look at them now. How many people are turning up to their games? It's great to see, although when you're there against them, it's not so great. But for the game itself, it's great having those big crowds there.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And results put bums on seats. That's a fact. But mate, I think that this season especially, a lot of those young blokes, mate, like Tallis Duncan and Lockie Hubner and Jai Gray, Ty Munro, and those, the LeBlancs and that of the side will learn a hell of a lot out of the lessons of 2025, and that will only steel them to become better footballers for 2026. And God willing, we can have a uninterrupted sort of pre-season injury wise, and have a decent crack at starting next season on fire.
Yeah, you're right there. And every week we talk about the team that we're playing, and we speak about some memorable games. What are some of your most memorable games against the Sharks?
Mate, the bloody Sharknado, where the entire ground almost got blown into the ocean. I mean, the only aside from getting beat, the only disappointment was that Buzz Rothfield didn't end up in the ocean himself. But
I see you've been practicing that voice.
Josh, get a bit bored while I'm off work, mate. So there's not much to do. But yeah, I think 18-10. We ended up getting done that game, mate. It was just it was horrendous. 4,000 out there, 4,000 crowds.
It was under 4,000 there. I was there. I'm still waiting for that shirt that they said they're going to give all the fans that shirt to say they were there.
Mate, I think you've still got some water in the ears from that game, mate, and that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, probably. We ended up going over to the Leagues Club after the game and enjoyed ourselves, because I knew I was going to be working the next day. There was no way I was working the next day, but I kind of decided to kick on after that game over at Sharks Leagues, and
did you enjoy a bit of King Wine Chinese in the in the Sharks Speech Club?
Unfortunately, it was closed, Buzz. So by that time, but yeah, they had a U2 cover band on there, so I was all set.
You're in your element, mate.
Yeah. So, any other memorable games for you there?
Oh, the semi-final, mate. I think that was a pretty good one where we knocked them off.
2022.
2022. That was pretty good. Actually, was it that year? Yeah, it might have been. I think earlier that year they beat us. I think it might have been a Nico Hines field goal. Was it, mate, in 22?
Well, that was 23. That was 23.
23.
Because Tom Burgess was sent off in Golden Point. We got it to Golden Point. Was it a Junior Satola try that got it to Golden Point? We kicked right in front, and we had about 4 shots at field goal, and Latrell missed them all.
That's right.
Because from the start of the Golden Point game, Latrell, they knocked on. We got the ball, and we're in great field position, and Latrell went for a field goal, missed it. We had another opportunity, and I was one stage, I kept screaming, just give it a Lockie, because your confidence is down there. Just give it a Lockie, let him have a shot. And we've seen him kick one. It was against Manly. Yeah. So
that's his the jersey
actually
game.
No, that may have been 22. I don't know. I'm a bit confused about which one it is. So you may be right. I'll have a look and see which one it was.
The one they beat us in was the night that I got COVID for the first time. So so that was shit.
Yeah. So which one was it? No, it was 20. Yeah, you're right. It was that year. It was 22. They won 21-20. So it was the same year as that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's when I caught the kung flu, mate. So that was rubbish.
But that semi final there at Allianz against them, that was great. The atmosphere was just awesome. Then the week before we had the Sin Bin Sunday. And we backed it up again. Two games in a row, just brilliant atmosphere out at Allianz. That try right on halftime by Cam Murray, just from nothing. They were just arm grabbing, and he got straight through. And it just shows what we've missed this year with Cam Murray having that. But I got a couple of games. I remember there was one in 2004 at Allianz Stadium where we ended up smashing them 36-12. We didn't get many wins that year, but remember it was a Luke McDougall hat trick. But later in that game, we're already well on top by then. But Greg Bird kneeing Shane Martin.
Martin, yeah. That's right.
That was dirty.
Giving him a bit of UFC in the tackle.
Yeah. So we always used to give Greg Bird a bit of shit there in the Burrow, especially I remember up in the Gold Coast. Were you there when we were doing it to him?
Yeah, mate.
And we're giving it to him. He was doing that to us, as he was going past us.
That's right, mate. We gave him some
there
spice.
Was 2005. We ended up winning 26-22, and I remember because that season we were kind of neck and neck. Newcastle were coming home strongly, and they were at the bottom, and they were going on a winning run, and we went on a really good winning run to end the season, and it was neck and neck for the wooden spoon between us two, and we had to beat the Sharks to avoid the wooden spoon, and we ended up winning. It was Sutto scored a double, Todd Polgray scored a double, and Ben Walker kicked 5 from 5 that game, and it was 26-22 it ended up, and we avoided the wooden spoon, but not only that, we ended up jumping Canberra on the table as well to finish third last rather than, a bit trivial, but yeah. But then I don't know if you remember the 2009 game where it was the final game of the season, and the very last play, John Sutton put Scott Geddes over the line to score to win the game. We ended up winning that game. What was that? That was 26-24.
No, I don't remember.
Craig Wing missed the conversion because it was his last game. He was going overseas after that, but yeah, it ended up being 26-24, and it was a final play of our season, and Sutton set up Scott Geddes to score. There was another one there, but I don't know if you remember this one. We ended up winning 22-14. This was at Acor where we beat them 22-14, and it was a try Campbell Graham scored, where he so he jumped from about 5 meters out, just put his arms out, caught the ball and over the winger and scored. It was a huge leap from him, and we got excited seeing, finally got an aerial threat, but for some reason we don't use that anymore.
Mysteries of the unexplained, mate. No idea.
Do you remember that try that he scored?
I do, mate. Yes, I do. I don't remember the winger who he jumped over, but it was absolute perler of a try, mate. And I reckon that it was almost like it reminded me Michael Jordan-esque, mate, when Jordan used to leap and do those wonderful dunks, mate, for the balls back in the day. It was a sight to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of talk over our last two podcasts. We've probably been a controversy with our chat. Certainly, there's a lot of people that agree with what we said. There's a lot of people out there that don't, and some people kind of very critical of us and the shorts that I put out there, especially Timothy Rogers there from the woke version of UMI. A shout out for you, Timothy, for watching, mate.
Yeah.
But I got to say, there's been a lot of critical fans out there, and there's a lot of people call them happy clappers or whatever, but they don't like to criticise the club. But I don't ever think there's any problems with people being critical of the club. There's some people that go too far. Sometimes people are not knowing what's going on, things like that. But I don't think it makes anyone less of a fan for criticising club.
100% not. It's our God-given right. to criticise the football club, mate, but it's also our right to praise the club. And I think that's very important. You need to, like we said earlier, mate, you need to give credit where credit's due. But sometimes, mate, the club needs a little bit of a kick in the ass. And, as paying members, mate, I believe that we're entitled to give the club a little bit of a kick in the ass every now and then. Especially you, mate. You've missed one game in 108 years. That is support, mate. You know what I mean? And if anybody has the right to, to be a little bit upset of some of the things that happen within the organisation, it's most certainly you. But anybody that pays their hard-earned money, mate, especially in this climate that we live in right now, where times are, not easy for families. Anybody that hands over some folding to the club, mate, on a monthly basis deserves to have their say, whether that's negative or positive. But you must give the positive as well as the negative.
Yeah. Look, I look at this, and you can look at the money side of things as well, but I look at the emotional investment that we all put in as fans of it. And it doesn't matter. It's not just South Sydney. It's any sporting thing in the world. There's a lot of an emotional investment put into it because we do love the club. We all love the club, and you cut us all open, we're going to bleed red and green. And you've got people that react differently. Some people will get upset because we're losing, turn off the TV and just go to bed. I remember a lot of people doing that when we scored those 2 tries in the last 2 minutes against the Roosters back in 2012. My old man was guilty of that. He went to bed thinking the game was over and woke up to the news the next morning that South had won. He's like, when did this happen? So he was shocked. I had a mate, Duff, that ended up leaving the pub, and all of a sudden his phone started blowing up. So he quickly turned around, went back to the pub to see the rest of the game because he was like, what the hell? So he missed the 2 tries. But
I've done it twice, mate. I think the first time I did it,
Dragons.
mate, was Tigers.
Tigers, 2012.
Yeah, Tigers. And
Greg
then,
Inglis,
and then the
Dragons. I was on the phone to you. I tried to ring you, then I had to ring Loz, and I was commentating the game because we were lining up the kick from the sideline, and he nailed it.
Yeah, and I almost got into a punch on with some idiot driving past the ground. I told him that he was giving us some stick, and I told him to stop driving a used tampon. But anyway, we got a little bit heated. But yeah, then that's right. Yeah, you gave me the phone call that was, and said, "Oh, you should have stayed. You've done it again, Rainer."
Well, no, I was, because the game was still being played, and I was commentating the game to you guys. I was telling you as the play was happening,
right.
and I go, and we end up, there was a try-saving tackle on the very last tackle because the Dragons got down the other end and almost scored, and we saved it. And I go, and I commentated that game. That was Campbell Graham's debut game. That one.
Right, it was.
But yeah, I've had Kieran Hennessy. He was known for it. I used to give him the nickname Halftime Hennessy, of course, related to Arthur Hennessy there. Shout out to your kids. But yeah, I remember ringing him up. It was a game in 2003 where we beat the Tigers at Leichhardt. Justin Smith kicked the goal from the sideline. I think, I don't know if it was Brian Fletcher that scored or whatever.
15-14 or something, that one?
No, it wasn't 15-14. That was the Willie Peters field goal.
That's right, Willie Peters. Yeah.
That was 2004. That was one of the worst field goal attempts you ever seen. And in that game, they stuffed up because they didn't have any halftime for Golden Point. They just kept it playing. If you remember that, there was a big blow up by the Tigers about it. That's the NRL for you.
Yeah, 100%.
But that about leaves us here for this episode. We do appreciate you guys watching, and we love the feedback that we've had from the last couple of weeks, and hope you guys are enjoying it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Any last thoughts from you, Mark?
No, mate, thanks for the support, everybody. That's the thing about it. You're not going to please all the people all the time with what you do. There's going to be people that that have the same opinion and different opinion, and guess what? You know what? That's cool. That's a democratic society, And as you said earlier, mate, you cut us all open anyway. We all bleed red and green. We all want what's best for the club. And we're all South Sydney supporters and members at the end of the day. So, well, we keep watching the channel, keep giving us some feedback, and we look forward to the next one.
Yeah, well, we're again, as I said, we're up at Gosford this week. Those travelling up, drive safely up there. Quite a few of the locals, they probably really enjoy the games there because they don't have to travel as far. But we're in Bay 24 this week. I believe there's still some tickets available. Those that are ticketed members, remember you can use your card to get in. The week after, we're playing the Broncos. We're in Bay 317. I'm not sure if there's any tickets available for that bay, but just get to the bay next to us. Anyway, hopefully the boys can do us proud and really put in a great effort. That's all we can ask for now. I mean, a win would be sensational. Doing one of these after a win would be great because I think it would be more upbeat, but it is what it is. We can't control those sort of things, but all we can do is keep getting out there and supporting the boys, which is what we'll continue to do. But anyway, for now, I'm your host, Josh, joined by Mark. Go the Rabbitohs.
Go the Rabbitohs.
South Sydney! South Sydney!